Chapter 5. Where are you taking me? Monk paused his long strides to answer Mai by looking her up and down. He then gestured to her body. She frowned at him, so he expanded verbally. You're what, 10? 11 years old? Mai's mouth dropped open in anger. So I'm taking you to John, since he's in charge of the kids. Monk continued walking. Mai shut her mouth before bounding after him. I am not 10! I am 15 years old, thank you very much. 15 and a half. No way, Monk replied. But you're so tiny. And you're so loud, a dry voice said. Mai spun around to see Noel walking towards them. He called me tiny, she complained to Noel, who rolled his eyes. She is tiny, Monk pointed out. Could you all lower your voices, please? A soft voice said from behind Noel. A short, blonde-haired man stood with his arms crossed and an attempt at a glare on his face. I just put the young ones down to sleep. Sorry, Mai squeaked. I'll be off. Bye, kid. Monk ruffled Mai's hair, saluted to Noel, and waved at the new man before disappearing. You're new. Nice to meet you. I'm John. John held out his hand to Mai, who shook it. Your accent is weird. John smiled graciously. Australian. And you choose to live here? In the cold? Well, someone has to keep an eye on the young ones. Mai watched his eyes flicker towards Noel. She frowned, but John did not continue. You ditched me, Mai accused Noel. I have more important things to do than keep an eye on you. Like what? Like ensuring that the elf children have been put to bed. They need sufficient sleep in order to be well rested for work. You make children work? Mai sounded scandalised. Mai, John began. These children were rescued, like you probably were, from the point of death. They make toys here. They think they have the best job in the world. Mai did not look convinced. Would you rather they had died? Noel asked. Well, no. Would you rather they were unhappy with their situation? Of course not. But kids should be playing, or at school. They should, John agreed. But they get some playtime and education here. Noel pursed his lips. Shortages require longer working hours than this last month. We have discussed this. Huh? Mai looked from one man to the other. I know, but that doesn't make it right. It is well within legal limits. They will all be getting extra time off this month, Noel stated. They knew this and agreed. Because they would never want to disappoint Santa, John said. Only the Santa they did not want to disappoint was not you, head elf. I know that. Mai pouted, annoyed at the lack of explanation. What Jean would have done is neither here nor there. Come on, Mai. But I want to meet everyone. Yes, good idea. Some of the older children are still awake. John led Mai and a reluctant Noel into the dormitories. Everyone, this is Mai. She's new, John announced in a stage whisper. About 50 children ranging from 10 to 13 years old rushed over to greet Mai. Children of every creed and colour bowed, shook her hand and told her their names. Mai knew she had no chance of remembering any of them, but she smiled at everyone nonetheless. What stood out about them was their pointed ears. If these children were rescued like she had been, why were their ears so pointed? Did that mean her own ears would begin to sharpen? She touched her own ears, relieved to find that they were still small and rounded like they had always been. Santa! One of the elf children had spotted Noel. Mai watched as several swarmed around him, begging for praise. They mistake him for his brother, John told her. Identical twins, you see, except for one small difference. Oh. Noel's smile looked like it was causing him pain as he thanked the children for their hard work. Will you come and play with us tomorrow? One child asked, her voice permeating above the rest. Mai cocked her head to one side, curious to see how Noel would react. Perhaps, if I have time. Aw, Santa, don't be like the bad-haired elf. He never plays with us. Yeah, he never plays dollies with us. Won't you play dollies with us? If I have time, Noel repeated, his expression grim. But it's Christmas. Next Christmas Eve isn't for almost a year. Well, we'll see. He's not good with them, huh? She commented to John. No, he's not. Jean was a much better Santa. His twin? What happened to him? He had an accident. Mai noted the grave tone of John's voice. It made her reluctant to ask more, but that did not stem her curiosity. What? Mai, come on. I need to show you the rest of this place, Noel called. Thank you. It was nice meeting you, Mai said quickly to John, pressing a piece of chocolate into his hands. No problem, he replied. Come on, kids, you should all be getting to bed. The sooner you sleep, the sooner Santa can come and visit. Yes, Noel agreed. Off to bed, all of you. Santa? John and Mai looked around to see one of the younger children hugging Noel's leg. Yes. Noel's face suggested that he wanted to rip the child from his extremity. Promise you'll come and play? Even if only for 5 minutes? I'm sure I can spare 5 minutes. I'll even bring Mai with me. How about that? Noel suggested, not bothering to bend down to the child's height. Thank you, Santa! The child beamed up at him before sprinting off towards their bed. He does care about them, Mai mumbled. He does, John said with a sigh. I just wish he'd show it more. I think he shows it in his own way. Bye, Mai smiled at John. She waved as they departed, leaving John to tuck the elf children in. You will accompany me tomorrow. Okay, Mai said, still smiling. I don't mind. They're a happy bunch. Yes. Where are you taking me now? Mai inquired. Well, we've just met the people who make the presents, Noel said. How about we meet the one who mines the coal?